There is something I need to tell you.
Kurt Wallander, Islandspolisen.
You have kids, right?
Yes, I have one daughter.
Linda Wallander.
And she's a policeman as well.
Fort, skynda, vigga in den där bilen.
It makes me grey with worry.
Vad håller du på med egentligen? Fick du inte lära dig någonting i den där jävla skolan?
Proud too, huh? Yeah, proud too. Yeah, proud too.
Linda!
This is very interesting. Why did I write Faceless Killers? And I had been away in Africa for once I had been away over 1 year without visiting Sweden. And when I came back, it was '89. I realized immediately, felt in the air that there was a growing tendency of racism and xenophobia in Sweden, and I decided to write about it. And since to me, xenophobia or acts of racism are acts of criminality, I decided maybe I should use a crime story. And when I had gone so far, I decided I need a police officer. But this is that the idea of the birth of Mr. Wallander was because I needed someone to tell a story about racism. And that has continued that way. I have never ever taken him in my fingers and said, what shall I find out for him now? Never. It starts with the story.
While we were doing the first Juvelan Valus in the start of the 90s, Henning wrote and published his first Wallander novel. And his agent actually asked us whether we wanted to produce the Henning Mankell novel. And at that time we were not only stupid, but we were also a bit busy with Juvelan Valus, so we said, no, we didn't have the time for that.
Such was the success of Henning Mankell's Wallander novels that, well, it didn't take long at all for them to come to the screen. And the first one was the first novel, Faceless Killers, with the great ROLF LASSGARD as Kurt Wallander.
I discussed with his agent the idea of instead of Henning selling his novels to different producers, we should form a company and he should do what he's good at, namely to write novels, and we should do what we're good at, namely to produce, finance, and distribute movies. So we formed Yellow Bird. He had a company called Yellow Horse and I had a company called Early Bird, so it became Yellow Bird. Within the first year, we started the 13 first Wallander movies, which were produced from 2004 to 2006.
It started out in 2004 with the first film of Wallander, and they were all made of inside the studios, the interior also. The police station was just here in the area.
We are at YSTAD's old military base. This was originally a big military town, but in 1997 that came to an end. One of the things that happened at that time was that Henning Mankell and his film colleagues bought the big Air Force hangar and turned it into a film studio. And when the filming of the Wallander films took place in Ystad, that was after 2004, the first police station was this building that I'm standing right in front of. So this is where they parked their police cars and went into the gate here and up to their offices. The interior scenes were not formed here in this house. That was filmed in the film studio some 100 meters away from us here at the military base in Ystad.
Well, Ystad Studios started out in 2004 when they decided to make new films about Wallander. But this, at the time, they made Wallander with a different actor in a different town.
Our intentions were to use ROLF LASSGARD, to continue with ROLF LASSGARD. And for lots of reasons that didn't happen.
When we decided to continue, I spoke with Rolf and we decided maybe we should do a change now, because, and then my choice was Christer Henriksson, and I was happy enough to get him. So you will, because he's doing something so completely different.
So we casted Krista, and we thought that Krista was an eminent character.
Vi får kolla församlingarna här runt omkring. Jehovas vittnen, Livets ord och Pingstkyrkan, allt vad skiten heter.
Den där bibeln vi hittade, kan det ha någonting med det här att göra?
Ja, allt kan ha med det här att göra. När är översättningen klar?
Ja, den borde vara klar nu. Jag ska se till att någon åker iväg och hämtar den. Här är den.
In fact, when they asked me to do it, if I wanted to do the character of Wallander, I said no. And then they came back, and I said no once again. And then finally, Henning Mankell called me and asked me if we could take a walk in Stockholm and just talk about it. And we were talking about it, and I said no. But finally, he asked me, "Have you read my books?" No, I haven't read your books. So I got a book from him, and was reading it. And when I was reading it, it suddenly struck me. I mean, this is a character for me. Why haven't they asked me before to do this character? Because this character is me. Because very much of the character was something I could recognize in myself. So then I called Henning and said, yes, I would try that. I will do that.
Where LASSGARD was a very sort of heavy, dark Wallander, we wanted to have more humor in the character. And for that reason, we thought that Krista was, I mean, even better.
He's a man, when you look at him, you know, he's thinking. I mean, he's this thinking actor who is very good for that part, you know. I think this is not every actor who has this kind of, ability.
When you shall do a character, you must, in a way, make the character as you.
Krista is a much more sort of humorous. He's not a comedian, but I mean, there are a lot of more. He's a more light Wallander than LASSGARD was.
I think he's very good, and from the very beginning also could make more out of the stories.
But it was, I must say, though, especially on the German market, it was a tough one to change because LASSGARD was very consolidated with the German audiences. He was Wallander. So it was a big challenge for us. But I think we succeeded.
Everyone who has read the books has his own Wallander in his head. So I know how many I will make disappointed, because most of them who have read the book will say, no, this is not my Wallander, because my Wallander is much better. He's up here.
Well, he's always accused of being so gloomy by American reviewers especially. I don't know if he's that gloomy, really. He does have his problems. He drinks too much. He eats pizza all the time.
Eminently fallible hero. I mean, one point he gets nailed by some of his own detectives for drunk driving, and they kind of give him a walk.
The books Henning has been written in many of these books he's about 40 years of age, but now he's 65. And if I compare myself to the person I was when I was 40, if I met myself when I was 40, I wouldn't recognize myself, because I'm quite another person today. And that is the same with Wallander.
I really dislike novels or art, for instance, where I know everything about the main character after one page. Mm-hmm. And I know this guy is going to be the same now for, I don't know, that doesn't interest me. What really makes you and me interesting is the fact that we change the whole time. Mm-hmm. You will not be the same tomorrow as you are today. So I really tried to work into credibility in the character by changing him. Not only giving him diseases or changing opinions about things, but in all circumstances, show him as a living person. And that, I believe, is one secret why he has become so popular.
Du har börjat att sköta dig. Det ger resultat.
Vore fan annars.
Hur känns det?
Toppen. Ja, jättebra.
Men?
Oj, ska jag vara ärlig?
Helst inte.
Whiskyn. Saknar whiskyn, så in i helvete.
Allt har ett pris.
Where I'm brought up, it's called Grisslehamn. It's not YSTAD. It's in quite another direction in YSTAD. But you know, it's the same village. It's a small village, and it's the sea. That nature makes you, in a way, rather lonely. You're looking at the horizon and you're longing for something, but you don't know what it is. You're longing to that side, to that horizon, and you don't know what it is you're longing for. And I think it's the same with Wallander. It's a man who's longing for something. He's lonely and is longing for something, but he doesn't know what he's longing for.
The very first one, Before the Frost, was from his last novel, which then kind of featured the daughter and then their equal in the succeeding series.
We wanted a character to play against Wallander, and that's why we invented the daughter. Now the daughter's been a part of the novels as well, but and then Henning wrote in Before the Frost, she's coming back to YSTAD now as a police officer, and we grabbed that chance and developed her parallel to the to Kurt's character.
Vad gör du här?
Jag jobbar här.
Ja, men jag var ju på väg till Stockholm.
Den var igår.
Igår? Linda? Nej, inte igår.
Det var igår jag tog min examen. Tack för att du kom. Ja, ska vi gå?
Johanna SÄLLSTROM did a great part. It was a great fight for her, and difficult once in a while. I really think that made the series, the fight between these two characters.
I wanted really to have Johanna in that part as Linda, and I had seen her on the screen before. I didn't know her, and but the thing is, and it's a bit ridiculous to say, but she's very much like my own daughter, and when we began shooting, we had the same relationship too. It was very much of a father and daughter. We loved each other, and she was very irritated on me because she thought that I was kind of trying to educate her all the time, and said, Johanna, you have to be in time, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. And it was really much the same relationship between a father and daughter. There was much love in it, but also many quarrels and you know, which is normal for a father and daughter relationship. So she really became my daughter while we were shooting.
Menar du att jag har varit orolig för mig?
Ja. Tycker du att det är underligt?
Nej, i och för sig inte. Fast ja, för det är man ju inte så van med att du är orolig.
Det är man inte. Och då har man varit polis i, 30 år. Haft ett litet barn där hemma som aldrig vetat om pappa ska komma hem eller inte. Eller hittas med ett stort jävla hål i huvudet. Så låtsas man helt oförstående när barnet säger att det kan vara oroligt.
After the 13 films that we made, there were an increase of people wanting to come to YSTAD to see the places where we shot the films. They wanted to come into the studio to see the scenographies of what we have been filming. CINETEKET started out to be an idea to people to see scenographies and props and costumes from the film, so you can feel that you're in a movie but you're really not.
We got this museum at the CINETEK, the film museum, where you can see props from Wallander. You got the studios. We can't see anything actually, but you could feel that that's where we've been.
When you shoot in the studio, you have the offices on ground level here with the props makers, the scenographers, the directors and the producers. This is painted on the floor, and this is the last part of Wallander that stays in the studio. This is his entrance in his hallway, in his apartment. Over here is the makeup. All the actors from all the films we have been sitting here to have their makeup done or their hair done. So Wallander and Christopher Henriksson from the Wallander shooting. So Kenneth Branagh from the English Wallander as well. So it's pretty cool.
Our concept is, and that has been the concept from when we started the company, was to first do a local version and then a global version, like an English version. That's been part of our concept from the very start. So that, I mean, when we did the Wallander for BBC, that was a natural, how can I say, consequence of that concept.
Then we got the summer of 2008, it must be, was it? Yeah, when Kenneth Branagh started his first episode of 3 films of Wallander.
When we got in contact with Branagh, he was sort of growing slowly on the English market.
I went with Ole to London, you know, to meet Kenneth Branagh for the first time because he was interested. He called us, or he called Ole, or Yellow Bird, and I went together with Ole because this was exciting.
We were actually at that time discussing a Wallander concept with an American company.
Feature film. There was a possibility to do a feature film or to do a TV serial.
While negotiating with these guys, we were contacted by Branagh and his agent.
But immediately when he called Kenneth Branagh, then of course, you know, with him on board, something started rolling.
He read all the Wallander novels, and he was more or less obsessed with them. He liked them a lot.
So it was LÖFVING Pictures, the BBC One, and the Yellow Bird that made all those films.
Everything happened extremely quickly. I mean, like within half a year, we've sort of started, developed, and financed, and went into production on the first 3 Wallander movies for BBC.
It started out with 3, and then they came here last summer and did 3 more.
We had 2 Wallanders running around in YSTAD parallel, yeah.
So at the same time, we had 2 inspectors of Wallander here in the town.
At times you get really annoyed at the films and the shootings. You have to take different routes to the shop. You can't go this way or that way when you leave your kids before work.
I have the feeling that all this YSTAD town is just a setup for us. It's not really. There are no people. This YSTAD is just a setup for the Wallander production.
When you really see the tourists coming over, I mean, the 29th of December, I have a group on 50 people. That's between Christmas and New Year's. Just to see this. And you change your opinion about it.
The people, the natives in YSTAD, they're very, very friendly and helpful. to the film teams, to the production teams, and are very eager to help out in some way, to borrow, to let them borrow things and to rent apartments and to work as extras in the middle of the night and so on. And more than 10% of the people in YSTAD has worked as extras in the films.
It gives something to a production, which is quite different from when you're shooting in Stockholm.
Even if some people say that YSTAD is not only famous for Wallander, because some people that live here get a bit tired of him and think that it's more famous for its historical, the view, the surroundings, the beautiful beaches, the monastery, the gardens, etc. You have to be honest and say that I don't think that so many people have found the name of YSTAD if it wasn't for the books or the films of Wallander.
It has rapidly growing, and we have extremely many tourists coming in here to YSTAD, both for the reason of looking at the beautiful little medieval town, but also to learn more about the locations and to learn more about the Wallander, the person Kurt Wallander, and about the filming.
There are very many Wallander-related activities in YSTAD.
The most common tour is a guided tour by foot in the center of the town. That brings people around for an hour and a half to see the medieval spots of historical interest mixed into the Wallander places of interests also, from the books and from the film. This is the pedestrian street Östergatan. From this view we recognize one of the scenes in the film The Brothers. There was supposed to be a military parade coming down this road, and the main character is sitting at the square beside here and waiting for the parade. He has something in his mind that the police force that is observing him very closely, they are not aware what he's going to do. And along the street you have a lot of shopping, of course, and cafes, and a lot of walking tourists and people living here in YSTAD.
Well, I gather it started a little tourist industry in YSTAD?
Yeah. Well, why not? I have forbidden everything that commercializes things. No hats, no cups, no nothing like that. But if people go there and have a look at the city, I think it's fair enough.
The author Henning Mankell is very protective about the name Wallander. He doesn't want YSTAD to be like a Disneyland of stuff and things and products concerned to Wallander. But last year he came to us and asked us if we wanted to be a part of this iPhone application in the trails of Wallander. So that was very nice and interesting, of course.
We are now at the main square of YSTAD, and at the end of the main square you can see the town hall, the old town hall that was used in the filming of The Village Idiot. It was turned into a bank office, and the windows were striped to look as a bank office, and The Village Idiot took a hostage in the bank, and the square was crowded with people, with police officers and Linda Wallander and Kurt Wallander, and everybody was here to try to get him out. They succeeded to save the people in the bank, but you know what happened to the Village Idiot, don't you?
Henning has write his last book about Wallander, about the Wallander character, and it's called The Troubled Man, and that is I like that book very much, and that is the last book of Wallander because he develops a very serious illness, which is called Alzheimer. It's the same in your language, yes. And he's describing that. When that happens with Wallander in a very in a very good way, and it's very interesting because Wallander doesn't realize that he has Alzheimer's. Suddenly he forgets things, and nobody knows what it is. People think he has begun drinking again or something. And I would do, yes, when Henning has asked me if we do that movie, should I like to do the part? Yes, I would say yes, I should like to do that part.
We are talking to Henning about developing a couple of Wallanders more, but you should know that I've made a promise to Henning, which is very important, namely that we will only produce Wallander as long as there are substantial stories. We will not, how can I say, drain the Wallander characters for energy and credibility. When it's not credible anymore, we'll close